All right, guys, it is time to discuss week one of the Caps Gaming Showcase, the 6v6 tournament put on by the Washington Capitals. I have my good friend Scheckel here, part of Entourage, to help me go over all of the action. Hello, Scheckel.
Hello, Sleeves. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. All right, let's discuss some of the action that went down in week one. Now, it was the first week of the Swiss format. Anyone that doesn't know, the Swiss format is basically just randomized, and then as you go on, you'll play people with the same record. So because there wasn't anything to base it on, week one was kind of chalky, meaning that the favorites pretty much won every game, as there wasn't really any two huge teams, for example, like Composure and Prophecy or anything like that, matching up in the first round. It was mostly unknown teams against the bigger squads, and that definitely was reflected in the scores, because your series with Entourage was a little ugly, and I guess we can start there, as Entourage played the Brookville Beer Farmers. Is that correct?
Yeah, Brookfield Beer Farm.
And how did that go?
It went pretty well for our team.
Pretty well for your team. Give me what was the score in that one?
Game one was 24-0, and game two was 23-4.
All right, so that's ridiculous. Let's talk quickly to some teams that might have seen that and been like, how is that even possible? I guess, first thing we have to say is that there's 82 teams in this tournament, right? So you're, unfortunately, for a team that maybe hasn't played at all. I think you looked up their club, right? Like they weren't very.
Yeah,
They
they
hadn't
played
played.
maybe 21 games as a club as an EASHL club, and most of it was fours.
Yeah, and
so.
they ran into like a one of the favorites to win the whole thing. So that's just unfortunate. But I think the bigger thing that we got to discuss from this kind of series, because there was other series that happened that we'll discuss in a little bit that had the same kind of thing, is that one of the tiebreakers for the seeding and whatnot is goal differential.
Correct. It's based on goal differential. That team's going to win the tiebreaker. I think might be adding head-to-head into that as well. But there's only 8 weeks, so how many people are actually going to play head-to-head?
Exactly. I think that might. It's really tough to determine if it is a team that played head-to-head, because you only play 8 teams of the 80. It'd be 81, including your own. So it is really going to be goal differential that basically determines who's going to play or who's going to be seated higher. And when you get a series like this, it sucks. You guys put up 24 goals in a game, and that looks brutal. And especially that's like soul crushing to that team. But because that being the tiebreaker, there's no cap on it, and I think that might be something they want to look through for in the future. Now, I did talk to Jordan Zelniker of Caps Gaming, and because it is a legal thing, once the rules are in place, there aren't really any ways to, adjust them. So that's how it's going to be going forward. So just something to keep in mind, that when you're playing a team, if you're up and you're just kind of start joking around and whatnot, might not be something that you want to do. Even though I know you had a lot of fun in this one.
Yeah, we did. It was. I felt bad, but at the same time, in the back of the head, there's 15,000 on the line. So we just kept pushing to try to do our best, because, goal differential matters, and we want to try to get that best seed as possible. We kind of let up a little bit in that second game and started goofing off, and allowed 4 goals, but 23-4 is still pretty good, plus minus.
No, you guys almost touched 50. Which is ridiculous. Yeah. That's just how it's going to be. But something else I want to discuss now, though, moving on. Entourage, obviously, you're going to win a lot of games. I think you're not going to see, like I've been saying this for a little while now, is you're not really going to see the tough or like the super competitive matchups till week 3, I think. Because you're going to have a lot of teams next week that maybe still unknown teams did win, that aren't prominent members of the community, things like that. There's a lot of there's 82 teams, right? So now they're gonna have to go up against other teams that went 1-1, and there's still BBB and Black Ice and all those the top tier teams. They're gonna have to play those other guys, those unknown guys. So they'll move to 2-0 and so forth. And I think week 3 is really where you're gonna see the really competitive matchups on the good and bad.
Right. And I think there might be a couple possible random matchups, just because it is random.
Mm-hmm.
We did have nothing to prove versus Prophecy in week 1, which is probably two better teams match up. So there's definitely possibilities we might see some big time games come up in week 2, but it's random. So we have to wait till Wednesday to find out.
And one loss could be devastating. I mean, really, when you think about it, only one team's going to go undefeated, if any team does go undefeated, because as they go on, right, there can only be one. They'll end up matching if there's two teams that are 7-0. And just because of how sixes is and whatnot, it wouldn't stun me at all if no team goes undefeated, just because every game is so tight. Like, anyone can beat anyone, essentially, in some cases. Not 24-0, but... So as the weeks go on, but even for the lesser guys, so the teams that aren't necessarily going to finish 1-16, but 16-32, I think you're going to see a lot more closer games that are competitive, and it might not include a lot of prominent members in the Sixers community. And I think that's where it's going to be really fun for these guys, as you're going to see those non-top tier teams just kind of fight it out. And I think that's going to be just as interesting to see as to who finishes 1-5 or 1-6 and whatnot. So.
Right. There's going to be a lot of competitive games across the board. Right now, we only had 5 out of the 41 series go to 3 games after week 1. I can
think of that. Like that's crazy, especially when you consider the state of sixes, right? Like where it's very tight usually.
Bounce happening and causing a win. We saw a couple times happen in that Mercenary versus Montage Moment game, but which I think we'll talk about later. But yeah, 5 out of 41 series. I expect that number to rise as we go along into the weeks.
For sure. I think that's one of the strong points of this format. So, but let's discuss some controversy that we had in week 1. There was 2 instances, really. I want to touch on this because I want everyone to understand the rules. Now, a lot of people are going to reference League Gaming and specifically ESHL, but a lot of players, that like Sixes might not have ever played in it, and just to assume that those rules are going to carry over to this, it's just not the case. The tournaments run differently, some good and bad, but I want to discuss specifically Prophecy against Nothing to Prove, which was a closer, in comparison to talent match. Why don't you run us down what happened in that one and kind of the outcome and whatnot?
Yeah, one of the players on Prophecy just likes to slash after the whistle just because he thinks it's fun. And, that's the same button to start a fight. And somebody on Nothing to Prove shot the puck. So as he was slashing, the puck came at the goalie, and that caused to start a fight. And they dropped the gloves, and there's no fighting allowed in 6v6. So
give us a reason why. Yeah,
6v6, it's 6v6. We want 6 humans versus 6 humans. We don't want AIs involved, if at all possible. Well, fighting puts AIs on the ice. But if you pull your goalie or whatever, that adds an AI, but nothing can be done about that. Mm-hmm. So that's why no fighting is allowed in 6v6 hockey, because we don't want AIs involved at all.
Nope, absolutely. That makes sense. So, guys, just so you know, again, just be aware that is a rule. Don't fight. Don't after the game. And what would be the recourse if someone does by accident? Like, who is at fault?
Yeah. So
that's what ended up happening. Was it was kind of, again, 2 more known teams that knew what they were doing, right?
Right. So in this one, you don't really have one person to be at fault, because one person shot the puck to initiate a fight and one person was slashing to accept the fight. So they decided to just restart, run the clock down to when the fight happened, and just dump it out for a whistle and not a delay of game.
Okay.
If it happens in other games where somebody makes a big hit and the other team accepts the fight, whoever accepted that fight is at fault, because the person who made the hit can't really control that. So then they would have to, again, restart, and whoever accepted that fight would have to take a delay of game penalty and be a man down.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, just so if you don't know, that is the rule for it currently. I know some guys might like fighting in 6s, but no, this is honestly a 6v6, and that's why it's here. You don't want any AIs, and that's the whole purpose of 6v6. So, just to talk that one, Prophecy did win 2-0 over Nothing to Prove. So Prophecy did win. They were one of the only really tightly contested in terms of tiers. And if you haven't seen Wingle's video, I'll link it in the bio down or in the description down low. But he did a nice breakdown of the tier lists, and those were 2 of the higher rated teams to play. Really, the only one other than maybe Black Ice and Oblivion, which we'll get into now. So Black Ice does take it 2-0 over Oblivion. Now, do you think that Oblivion might be one of the better teams, as well as Nothing to Prove, that are 0-1? And what does it mean for them going forward, going down 0-1 early?
Yeah, going down 0-1 really puts you about 2 weeks back, to be honest. You're going to now have to whoever matches up against Oblivion and Nothing to Prove week 2 just got a bad luck of the draw.
Yeah, you're probably in a rough go. Yeah.
Yeah, those teams should not be there, but they are there because that's the way its format is. And I think once they win their next series, which if they don't play each other, I'm calling that they're in week 2.
Not so much a bold take there.
They're going to probably have to face another similar team that's not probably as good. So they're not going to face anyone until maybe week 4. That's going to be tough. So they can't lose focus and drop any of those games.
No, for sure. It definitely gets more intense. Because if you go down 0-2, you got to think that 4-4, maybe 3-4 with good goal differential gets you in. Because again, it's not half the league; it's a little under half. That will get in. There's still 32, but again, 4-4 is probably the cutoff. So burning one of your losses, week 1 is pretty tough. You're gonna have to,
and it's gonna be 4-4 and a really good goal differential.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably quite a few 4-4 teams, so it'll be interesting to watch for sure. Let's discuss the other bit of drama, as it says. So Puck Boys was facing Clout9. OG Kevin Bacon, huge fan of him. So there was some drama in that game. Run us back on what happened. What happened?
Yeah.
There?
So the Puck Boys ended up having someone lag out or quit. I don't remember the score. I think Clout9 was up at least 5 goals when it happened, and they kept on playing. Well, that's not the rules. When someone lags out or quits, you're supposed to stop, reset. We want 6v6, no AIs, and they weren't quitting. So Clout9 decided both teams are supposed to drop their goalie to end the game. So Clout9 followed the rules, dropped their goalie, and then the Puck Boys wanted a forfeit because they thought Clout9 quit. Well, they were just following the rules of what you're supposed to do when someone lags out. So there was a little controversy there. Luckily, Owe, the admin, who's been working his butt off, I tip my hat to because you've been dealing with a lot, handled it really well, got them to restart and play their game. And they ended up dropping their guy again, and he just said play it out. But
yeah.
Clout9 had an easy 2 wins. It wasn't anything that caused the series to go one way or the other. Clout9 was going to win anyway. So
yeah. Couple things I do want to mention, and that, guys, if you have a problem, take it to the DMs. The guy for Puck Boys, I believe, kind of wanted to start a thing, and I can't say this enough. Is like, there are so many eyes, whether it be NHL organizations or tournament runners, that are looking at this event and seeing, can it sustain itself. All it takes is someone to freak out on a social media and like that, and just kind of ruin it for everyone. It's not just the Washington Capitals, they have sponsors and things like that. You need to be careful, and I didn't get ridiculous, but you could definitely see someone being agitated about it, and I totally understand being not knowing that rule. Right? If you're not from the competitive sixes background, not only rule, totally understand that. Just take it to DM. Second thing, whatever OA says goes. There is a rule that admins, whatever they say, their decision is final. He is not just some community member, being like, hey, do this. That's how it should do. No, that if he is the admin covering your game, that is it. There's no debate. That's what's going to happen. He's doing his best, considering there's 600 people in this event. So just keep that in mind. If you're someone who disagrees with it, message him. Take it to his DMs. Don't try and put it in the group chat where all of the Washington Capital people can see. And again, you just don't be the one to ruin it, because if you do that, I can't even imagine. So just wanted to point that out, because I think that, again, you're going to run into games where it's not going to include someone that's more known in the community, and they're not going to know what to do. So on a leg out, guys, please end the game and go back to the time that it was. If you can, I'm not sure if this is in the rules or not, run it back to the exact time. You do have to wait if it carries periods. The reason being is that third period has a slow minute, the 4 minutes at the end, within the final minute. So I believe both people have to agree on just to start it. If it's overtime, if you're in overtime and you lag out, you can just start the first, whoever scores next. That's fine. You don't have to go all the way through. But if you're in the middle of the second period and you lag out, do you run back to the second and then do the third, or do you just start from where you are?
I believe you have to run it down to the exact time. So there can be no complaints about that final minute being there or not there.
Perfect. All right. So perfect. So that's good to know. All right, so let's you owe some people an apology, my man. So let's discuss one of the quote-unquote upsets. I mean, I guess you can't really say it's an upset, or Donnybrough will absolutely lose it on you. So let's discuss. So montage moment in the featured game of the featured series of the week. Me and Johnny were able to call this one montage moment versus Mercenary. My man, what happened?
That was one of the best games of this week, and it was great that it was featured. All three games went down to one goal, and I think from hearing from your commentary, I think you really enjoyed yourself. I think that was some very good competitive hockey, and montage moment ended up pulling it out, winning it in 3. Nasher doing Nasher things by
The kick
dangling
kills me
around
like
nobody and then just sniping it at the end.
like that. Oh my god! I'm not gonna lie. Mercenary had their chances in this. This is the thing I do like about the featured game and this event as a whole, because speaking about it before, like League Gaming, it's really just the same, like 5 to 10 clubs, and you know who is expected to win. Very rarely unless there's a team of like super powered people that kind of form a new team. It's very difficult to find the lesser guys and whatnot. But focusing on the non-top tier teams, so like Mercenary alone, they had a very good game. They outplayed Montage Moment for a vast majority of the 3 games.
I think all 3 games they had the higher TOA and outshot.
Oh, for sure. Like there was a moment in overtime in game 2 that went to triple OT, where Donnybrough and Lou literally could not get it out of the zone. Like it was like 10 failed breakout attempts, and they were hemmed in. But man, Smelly, like he has played absolutely phenomenal, whether it be Friday Night Shell or this so far. Same with Wax. Like Wax played great, other than that weird 5-hole goal off the kick, which just made no sense. Like I'm totally convinced it just went in because Nasher needed a clip. Right. But I mean, they play great. Like they have some decent talent. Like on Montage Moment, I think that I think it's fair to say that it wouldn't be surprising if they made the playoffs.
For sure. I think both teams will make playoffs.
For sure, yeah, I agree. I think that they will do enough to go at least 4-4 would be my guess. Mm-hmm. Now I'll be super interested to see how they do. Maybe not next week, because again you could get matched up with a newer team. But week 3, if they go 2-0 and they play someone in week 3, like I said, they were dominated for a lot of that. There was Mercenary was running a lot of like quote unquote sixes plays, hemming them in and whatnot. So I'll be curious to see how they do against a higher tiered team and how they're going to handle that come week 3.
Yeah, and I think Rehanek really stepped up and played well in that series too. He was very well on the back check and helped out.
Oh, there was a couple games
really good
saving,
scoring chances. Yeah,
there was a couple good ones.
He helped Smelly out and helped his defense out a lot. And like there was pucks bouncing in the front, and next thing you know, you'd hear you say, "Oh," and Rehanek somehow takes it out of there. Like
yeah, he was going back and forth. He was on a mission to make sure that wasn't going to. So. All right, well, that's going to do it, guys, for your recap. Again, as it goes on, we'll look to see if we can have some other guests on as well to join me and Scheckel as we talk about it. Once the schedule is released on Wednesday, I believe, right? It's Wednesday?
Correct.
Scheduled day is Wednesday. It feels like, man, this feels like college football. Like we're waiting for rankings. So once the weekly schedule is released, me and Scheckel will hop back on. We'll highlight, preview some of the games and big series going on for each week. But again, guys, if you liked the content, let us know in the comment section down below, and be sure to tune in on Twitch for the featured game on the Capitals gaming channel. Again, I'll put that Twitch link down below. It'll usually be on Saturday night around 9 p.m. would be my guess, but again, that is subject to change. But thank you guys for hanging out. I'm No Sleeves 12. He's Scheckel. We'll see you guys in a couple days.